Hi, it's Dr. Scott Watson to share an awesome resource called MusicRacer.com that young instrumentalists can use to review two things: note identification and fingering. Note identification is being able to recognize notes on the staff, which is something young players, all players, need to do. Be able to recognize that a certain note is called an F, a B flat, a G, whatever the letter name of the note is. And then the other thing that MusicRacer helps you out with is fingering or slide positions. So for instance, when you see that F or that B flat, do you know what buttons to press on your instrument, what keys, what valves, or what slide position to go to? Now, MusicRacer.com works for all young instrumentalists. That is, band instruments, string instruments, even recorder. But in this video, to explain MusicRacer and how it works, I'll be focusing in on band instruments. When you go to the MusicRacer.com site, first you have to pick your game. Let's say we're going to start with the note identification, so we choose note names. Next, it wants you to pick your instrument because it needs to know what clef your instrument is in, and it also needs to know the type of notes to give you. We're going to choose, let's go with clarinet. And notice that it says clarinet easy. We're on level A. So when we say that we want to begin the game, it asks us to identify what it considers to be easier notes. Now I know these might not be easy for some clarinet players who are just beginning. Anyway, that's a low B flat, so we click on B flat. That's an F, we click on F. I just want to show you, that's a G, but what if I don't know it's a G and I click F? Notice that down in the lower left, it tells us though that was a G, so it corrects us. Anyway, the next note is a high B flat, going to click B flat, then we have an E, then we have a low B, then an A. So it really helps to know your notes well, and then this drills you for speed and accuracy. Okay, notice it gives us a score, and it says I'm very close to getting a perfect score, but it wants you to get a perfect score at this level before it will let you go on to the next level. Let's go ahead and begin again and just try that one more time. And again, you could be playing in bass clef with trombone and slide positions, or you could be playing with a viola on alto clef or whatever. So anyway, here's a clarinet F, so we'll go F. Let me just click all the correct notes so you can see what happens when you get a perfect score for level A. And look, it says we're ready to move on to level B. When you click the level B button, it'll take you to some harder notes. Of course, you could do level A again, even though you got a perfect score. We had a choice. We could have gone back to level A. All right, let's do level B. And now we get some high notes. So this will extend the range. There's a high E, there's a low E. And again, I'll click all the right notes just so we can see what happens when we get a perfect score. You notice that we're really extending the range to lower and higher notes. And it even gives us some cool music to jam along to, and it says you can go on to level C. And again, if you click on level C, you are going to get some higher notes, harder notes that maybe you haven't seen. Of course, at level C, for whatever instrument you're doing, some of these notes are going to be quite high and quite low. But let me just click all the right notes so you can see what happens when we get a perfect score at level C. I can deal with the bad. Okay. This is what happens when you make it to the end of the game. So if you're a young band player, maybe you're only going to work on level A, or maybe you'll have made level A and you'll be working in level B. Of course, you can always check the fingering and slide position chart in your book, in your lesson book, or online to confirm your answers or to get better at your answers. But this is a great way to drill note recognition, and that's something you want to be good at. You want to be good at immediately recognizing notes on the staff. All right, well, let's go back and look at the other game. We're going to click on Change Player at the bottom here. Okay, and we're going to choose to play the game of Fingerings. And let's go with the instrument. We could have done clarinet again, or flute, or trombone for slide positions. Let's go with trumpet. And we're going to begin with easy trumpet fingerings. We'll say begin the game. And we get a B flat, a high B flat. Now that's first valve, so I press number 1. Low C is 0 valves, right? No valves. Now there's a D. I press the first and third valve, so I choose 1 and 3, and so on. Now, I do want to show you that if you were playing the game, let's do fingerings again, and let's choose clarinet and say begin. Now we have a fingering chart, and so for that fingering, it's asking you what is the note that you'd be fingering if you were pressing that. And so since you're pressing all 3 keys on the top hand, the left hand, and the first key on the right hand, the lower hand, and since you're pressing the thumb, that's a B flat. So it's kind of like the opposite. Instead of showing you the note and matching up the valves that you press on trumpet, here it's saying, okay, I'm pressing the top 2 keys and the thumb, that's a D, and so forth. Let's also go out and for fingering, choose trombone, because we haven't shown you slide positions. All right, so trombone, and begin the game. Now that's a low B flat, that's in first position. So we click on one. Or that's a low A, not an A flat, but an A, and that's in second position. Or there's a C in sixth position. Now that's a high A flat, which is in third position, and so on. Okay, and we could look at level 2 and level 3 for those fingering games, but I'm going to just show you one other thing about MusicRacer.com. If you're interested, there's a third thing called Music Terms 101. And again, doesn't really matter what, let's go ahead and pick flute. And say begin. So it's going to say, what does the term fermata mean? And that's a hold, right? So we'll choose B. Or what does the term forte mean? That's a dynamic indication for playing loud, and so forth. So maybe you want to drill yourself on music terms as well. I want to mention also that there is a competitive version of the game. You can click on the competitive version button and then pick your game. And then if you get your score fast enough, there's a top 50 scores that you can have your name added to. Finally, I want to mention that if you click on About, you'll see there's a very nice person named David Carroll who developed this game and put it up on the web for free. So we thank David for being so generous and developing this game for young band and strings and recorder and other instrumentalists to use.